Good morning, everybody. This is Johnny Carciapolo from Focal Point Coaching, and I'm bringing you another edition of Virtual Coffee. Remember, this series is here for your information. Hopefully you find the guests that come on with me very helpful and informative, and I know today is not going to be any different. Today I have Chris Bobo, and everyone calls him Bobo, so you can call him Bobo as well. Bobo is in the insurance industry, and he has been specializing in health coverage for the past 2 years. He enjoys helping people, and although he focuses primarily on 1099 employees, he can certainly help a wide variety of families. So Bobo, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today and have some coffee.
Hey Johnny, thanks for having me. I already had my coffee this morning, so I've got my protein here, getting ready to get the day started right.
Yeah, I hear you. Protein is good. I need to get on that myself. So you're giving me some incentive here. I like that. All right, so Bobo, we're going to jump right into it and just talk a little bit about what you do. So I guess the first question I have for you is, tell us just a little bit about your business and then how you decided to get into that line of work.
Well, about 2 years ago, I decided to get into the health insurance industry, really just the insurance industry, and got to looking around and by chance came across U.S. Health Advisors, which, I kind of grew to like and wanted to know more about because they have a unique product or line of products that actually no one else in the country offers. Mm-hmm. So kind of a niche product that can help a lot of people.
Awesome. All right. So before we get into the real specifics of the products, just got a couple of quick questions for you surrounding healthcare and kind of the state of the union that we're in right now with healthcare. So what are your thoughts about why is the industry in such a flux with all the information that's being presented to us about the Affordable Care Act?
Well, a lot of things happened during the Affordable Care Act. Obviously, it was almost 1,300 pages of legislation, of which hardly anybody knows anything about, but it brought about a huge change to the way individuals in the United States handled their health insurance. Now, the ACA, Affordable Care Act, has been fantastic for a lot of families, but on the flip side, some families have found that it's been a little bit more difficult to handle their health coverage since then. Moving forward, I think a lot of things will change, but I'm sure we'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah, well, that was my next question, actually. So it's good because obviously new president, new administration, there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen, what could happen. So what are your thoughts on, do you think that the new administration is going to have a big impact on this?
Well, I think the new administration will have a huge impact on this. What I can't tell you is what they're going to do. I know they're looking at several different bills, replacements, ideas to kind of change up the health coverage marketplace and help a lot of people. What I can tell you is this. Whatever is working for you now is probably going to continue working for at least the next 18 months. If you don't like what you've got going on, then you've probably got at least 18 months of these things to remain the same. Because regardless of how quickly the administration makes a jump, makes a move, it's going to take a long time for it to go through the Congress and the Senate and for the actual changes to affect the marketplace for the individual.
Yeah, and that's a great point because we're hearing a lot today about the changes that are going to happen or the changes that are being proposed to happen and how quickly they want them to happen. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, well, what does that mean for me today? I mean, if something gets signed today, am I not going to have coverage tomorrow? So you bring up a good point. I think it's a great explanation that there is a time, even if something does go through today, it's going to take a little time for it to become reality. And so this is actually a great time for people to start looking at alternatives and what's out there for them, right?
Of course, of course. What a lot of people don't understand is that they actually do have options. I'm licensed in several states, but especially here in my home state of Alabama, most people think they have one choice. That's Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Right.
Blue Cross Blue Shield is the only company that's a federally subsidized program in the state of Alabama. So most people think, okay, that's the only option I have. Right. And so what I would like to do today, and what I try to do for all my customers, is just to educate them and show them, hey, there are different options, there are different alternatives, and it would behoove everyone just to see what those different options are.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason we're doing this today, right? Is to inform and educate. And one more quick question. In the past, when I've looked at different types of insurance, network restrictions was always a big deal. How do network restrictions affect what you offer?
Sure. So I'm going to answer that in two parts. First of all, with the products that we offer, we actually don't have network restrictions in a broad sense, because you are free to go to any doctor or hospital and still receive benefits from the insurance company, regardless of if they're in network or not. Now, we do offer multiple network options. So normally I like to look at the area where you live and see, hey, which one of these networks is going to be the best fit for you and your family. And normally we can find most all doctors will be a part of one of the options that we have available to us.
Okay.
The next thing I want to kind of answer, because I'd call it a myth about the health coverage industry. Most people feel like networks are just a group of providers and doctors that have gotten together and decided, hey, let's form a group, and through this group, we'll provide people discounts because they come through our network.
Right.
Well, that is true to a certain extent, but in a broader sense, really what a network is, it's an electronic billing system. Okay, a network is when that provider is in this electronic billing system. So when you're in network, they know as soon as this transaction happens, we're getting paid. The doctor's getting paid, the facility is getting paid, the organization is getting paid right then. When you're out of network, then that facility doesn't know if they're going to get paid, when they're going to get paid, or how they're going to get paid. Thus, the renegotiation and network discounts take place. A lot of people would ask, well, if I use my insurance, why is the bill so much higher? That's the reason why. Yeah. Because if people are out of network, they don't, the provider, the facility doesn't know if they're ever going to get paid. So they jack up the bills on the insurance provider just a little bit and the claims to make sure that they can compensate for those things. Gotcha. What's great about networks, though, is if you are in network, you always receive that upfront network discount right off the top.
Gotcha. Good information. That's a great explanation of how they work, because I had never heard that before. So I'm sure that's going to help a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about why. What's your why? Why did you get into this, and why do you do what you do?
Well, Johnny, I've been a people person all my life. I love to be around people. I love to help people. I love to be a fixer of people. However, that sometimes has gotten me into trouble. But, you know, my thing is helping another individual every single day, a group of individuals, a family, a business, a small business owner, helping them by educating them, by teaching them something, by showing them something, by offering what I feel is, you know, a product that's going to be able to help them not only save money, but also hopefully save time, you know, and just be able to provide a valuable asset to them that they had no idea was even out there in the first place.
Right. Again, all about education and information. And just a side note, and I'll do a shameless plug here for you, Chris. I've had I'm sorry, Bobo, right? I have had an opportunity to sit down with Bobo on several occasions, and what he's telling you is absolutely true. Remember, you know, the whole purpose of doing virtual coffee and introducing you to these people is because they're the best of the best. He means what he says. He does have the best interest of you, his clients, at heart, and he's going to do whatever he can to make sure you get the best of what's out there. So kudos to you, Chris, because you're one of the good ones.
Thanks, Johnny.
As we talk about clients and we talk about, you know, who we deal with, who is your ideal client and why?
Well, I'd say the ideal client is probably the 1099 individual. And the reason, Johnny, is because their incomes fluctuate so often. The 1099 individual, the small business owner, they don't have a locked in paycheck. They don't know what they're going to do from month to month. At the same time, sometimes those 1099 individuals and small business owners are also some of the top income earners, right? So, what's happened in the marketplaces of late with the ACA federally subsidized plans, those plans are based entirely off of income, okay? So, the more you make, the more you pay. Now, as I said earlier, that helps a lot of people, but it also penalizes a lot of people. So what we're able to do is offer a product that is not based off of income whatsoever, but rather it's based off of health, health history, and age of the individual. The income doesn't come into play whatsoever.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, let's kind of build on that, and we'll talk about, obviously you've helped quite a few people, families, 1099. So what's some of the wins, right? What are some of the biggest impacts you've seen with some of your clients that you have recently worked with?
Yeah, recently, probably 3 weeks ago, Johnny, I met with a family, and I didn't know this family previously to us speaking the first time. They called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, Chris, we just received our rate change of rate increase notice, and we're not going to be able to have insurance this coming year. It's just not feasible."
Yeah.
If I told you the numbers, it would blow your mind. But long story short, I did meet with this family, and they just thought, we're just going to put money aside in a savings account and hope for the best. We'll take care of our medical bills that way. And quite frankly, a lot of families and individuals are doing this now because the price of that premiums and the deductibles are up front are so exorbitant.
Right.
Long story short, I met with this family, and I told them, I understand your theory of just putting money aside. That's going to help you and protect you if something small happens. But why do you have insurance?
Mm-hmm.
And we know the answer. You have insurance in case something major happens, right? Protect against man. If something major happens, then what's going to be the result of that for you, for your family, for your business? If something major were to happen, and now you find yourself in the hospital for 2-3 weeks or even more, could a bankruptcy take place? Could your financial future be destroyed? And the answer to those questions is a most definitely yes, it could be. Right. That's what I want to protect people from is, those major things. Let's put something in place so when something major happens, you're going to be covered and it's not going to cost you a lot out of pocket. With this particular family, I was able to get their rates to less than half of what they were beforehand, what they thought they were going to have to pay after the rate increase.
Right.
And I got their deductible to nearly zero. So, it was a great win. It was great to be able to help this family. And I've actually received a thank you letter from both the wife and one of the kids telling me thank you so much. The kid plays baseball, so he's injury prone, athletic, out there all the time, and both of them said thank you so much that we're able to have this coverage that's going to protect us.
Right. So let's really put this in perspective, right? Because to me this is an amazing story. So you have someone who you never met, who, like many people, I'm sure, recently get the letter in the mail that says, "Oh, by the way, your premiums are increasing to this amount this year. Probably your deductibles are increasing to this amount." So they look with sticker shock and go, "I can't have health coverage anymore," right? Luckily, this person from whatever channels knew to call you, and you were able to take the mindset away of not having insurance, get them back in the insurance mindset, and save them more than half on premiums, almost no deductibles. This is the magic. This is why everyone needs to call you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I know you're going to get to my favorite quote here in a minute, but it says, "I can't do everything, but I can do something. Yeah. I can't help everyone, but I can help a lot of people."
Right.
And what I can do is tell you the differences. I tell you the options. I can educate you about what's going on in the marketplace. So even if I don't have the product to help you with, at least I can be in an advisory role and say, "Hey, this is where you need to go from here. These are the steps you need to take. This is what I would advise you to do for your present situation."
Right. So what it sounds to me is you're in a very much an advisor role, like you said. So it's not all about making the sale. It's not all about getting someone off of what they're on. It's all about finding out what their needs are and what you can do to help them. And if that means having to do something different, that's what you do. I mean, it may, like you said, you can't help every single person, obviously, but at least you give them the tools they need and equip them with the knowledge to make better decisions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can I share a quick story with you?
Absolutely.
Real quick?
Yeah.
So I had a mutual friend contact me on Facebook several weeks ago, right before Christmas, and said, "Hey, Chris, I know we haven't talked in quite some time, but could you please get in touch with this individual?" And I said, "Sure, I'd love to help." I get in touch with this young lady and find that she's just been diagnosed with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I speak with her. She's presently out of work right now, and that's because of the cancer diagnosis. She's having some financial struggles. I was not able to sell this individual anything, but what I was able to do was tell her the proper channels and how to make the proper moves so that she could get fantastic coverage for her and her son, especially going through something that's going to be, this will be monumental, especially in terms of the financial responsibility she's going to have going through such a major diagnosis.
Right.
I was able to help her, spent several hours with her on the phone and going through the right channels. Never made a dime off of it, but I was able to help her. And those are the types of things that I love to do.
Yeah.
That's even a bigger win than making a huge sale in my book.
Awesome. Right. And again, this is why people need to get in touch with you, right? It's all about information and knowledge and being armed with the best that you can have. And not everybody does that, right? A lot of people out there don't have access to someone who can sit down with them and say, this is this, and here's some different options that are available. We all think what's thrown at us on the table is all we have. So
yes, sir.
Great information. So if you could offer one piece of advice to anyone who's listening right now, client or non-client, right? Because hopefully there's going to be a ton of people watching this. What would that piece of advice be?
Well, I know we spoke of it several times already, but know what your options are. The worst thing for anyone is to be backed up in a corner and not have any options. And for somebody to say, this is the only thing that you can do at this time. Most people are in that situation.
Yeah.
They feel like, okay, this is my option. Either I take it or I leave it. And if I leave it, something major could happen. Mm-hmm. That's just not the case. There are options out there. So know your options. And if you don't have someone that you trust as an advisor, by all means, I would love to help.
Awesome. We talked a little bit about, in the story that you just relayed to us, a little bit about what makes it rewarding. But I guess that was one of my next questions is, what is the most rewarding part of what you do?
The success stories, the times when people are unsure because, let's be honest, everybody knows the competitor. Right. Everybody does. Not everybody knows who I am. Right. So when I have those individuals that are, I'm not so sure about this, Bobo. I don't know if this is going to be the best thing for us. I'm just used to what I have. Right. When people are comfortable with what they have, then why switch? Mm-hmm. Well, maybe it's the best thing for your budget. Maybe it's the best thing for your family. Maybe it's the best thing for your situation. But when finally I say, listen, this is going to be the thing that you need to do. And 6 months, 8 months, a year down the road, they call back and say, Bobo, this happened to my wife. This happened to my son. And I was really shocked at the way that, the product worked, the coverage worked, and the ease that we had going through the whole process was fantastic. That's very rewarding to me.
Good. Excellent. All right. So obviously everyone is sitting there right now going, okay, so you keep saying, contact him, call him, get in touch with them. How the heck do we do that? So what are the best ways for someone to get in touch with you?
Well, obviously by cell phone, my number is 256-238-3205. They could email me at jonathan.bobo@ushadvisors.com. They can check out my webpage, That's at www.ushaagent.com/Jonathan Bobo. They can find me on my Facebook page, the Health Insurance Guy, right? I'm the Health Insurance Guy. Look me up.
Okay.
So any of those ways.
All right. Is there anything they should have ready or, kind of prepared when they call you? What kind of things would they need to have with them when they call you?
That's a great question, Johnny, because a lot of people think, well, I'm going to have a lot of paperwork. I need to have my current plan. I need to know the differences. What you need to have when you contact me is just an open mind, really. Let's look at the different options. If they can tell me one or two things about their current plan, I can basically tell them exactly how that plan works, because this is what I do every single day.
Right.
They don't have to have all that paperwork. They don't have to have a list of conditions or issues. Just, hey, let's look at your current situation. Let's look at the current plan that you're in. Let's look at moving forward, how we can help. There's really nothing that they need to bring to the table except willingness to learn.
Awesome. Well, that's phenomenal. I can't tell you how informative this has been for me, and I hope it's been informative for everyone who's listening right now. Just the fact of knowing that there are options, I think that's probably the biggest thing, and that's the biggest takeaway for anybody who's listening to this right now, is you do have options. You're not tied into one particular product in one particular place. So do yourself a favor, give Bobo a call, give him the opportunity to show you what other options are available, and chances are you're going to walk away pretty happy, right? Again, best of the best. We only talk to the best of the best, and this guy is one of the best. He's the real deal. He's going to make it happen for you. If he can't, like he said, he's going to go ahead and tell you what options you have, and at least you walk away with more knowledge than what you had before you made the phone call or before you got in touch with them via email. Any last minute things you want to say, or wisdom you want to impart to the group before we cut our coffee off?
I'll just say again, you can't help everyone, but you can help someone. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Yep. There is something that I have to offer to everyone. So, if you're in a bind, if you're not real sure, I'd love to help in any way. And also, Johnny, I just want to thank you for taking this time, to spend with me and hopefully educate, your friends, your guests, your viewers about all these things. And, I'll give you a quick shout out. I got my Focal Point coaching pin right here. And, just a couple of times that I've met with you already, Johnny, you've imparted a lot of wisdom and helped me, and looking at different ways that I can, grow my business and expand, my education in the professional world.
Yes. Well, they've been great talks, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more. That's a wrap for today. I hope you guys found this informative. I know I did, and I know, again, last piece of advice, give Bobo a call. Let him tell you what's available out there. Let him tell you what your options are, especially if you are one of the people that has one of those letters with the sticker shock. Just know there are options available, and this guy is going to make it happen for you. That's all I have for you guys today. We'll continue with the series and keep bringing you people like Bobo and the other people we've interviewed, and hopefully you guys will find something that you didn't know before, and you'll make some good decisions and save some money and all those good things. So until next time, this is the coach signing out. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Johnny.